My in-laws suddenly volunteered to watch the kids for our anniversary. The phone rang unexpectedly on a random Tuesday night while I was sitting with our 6-year-old daughter, Lily, going over her spelling words. "We've been talking," my mother said, her tone brighter than I'd ever heard it. "You and Sarah really need a proper evening out. When exactly is your anniversary?" I nearly let the phone slip from my hand. In 12 years of marriage, my parents had never, not once, offered to look after the children. Not when Lily was born. Not when the twins, Noah and Oliver, came along 3 years later. Not for emergencies. Not for a quick date. Not even when we were drowning and just needed 60 minutes of peace. "It's actually this coming Saturday," I answered carefully. "But Mom, you've always said 3 kids at once is way too much." "That's ridiculous," she cut in. "We're their grandparents. It's long overdue." I found Sarah in the kitchen packing tomorrow's lunches. "You won't believe this," I told her. "My parents want to babysit Saturday night." She froze, jelly-covered knife hovering in the air. "Your parents?" "The same ones who showed up 3 hours late to Lily's 4th birthday because they lost track of time and completely forgot the twins' preschool graduation." "The very same." Sarah's face filled with doubt. She had every reason. My parents lived only 15 minutes away but acted like the kids were an occasional obligation. Her parents, on the other hand, drove 4 hours every few weeks just to read bedtime stories. "Maybe they're finally trying," I said, though the words felt hollow even to me. She exhaled slowly. "Maybe. The kids deserve grandparents who actually show up." Saturday came quickly. I'd booked a table at the little French bistro where we'd had our first date. Sarah wore the green dress that still made my heart skip. For the first time in forever, we looked like us again, like the couple we were before carpools and bills swallowed everything. My parents arrived at 6 o'clock on the dot. Another shock. Dad carried a large duffel bag. Mom held a tin of what she insisted were homemade brownies. I spotted the bakery sticker she peeled off. The children were excited, mostly. Lily kept asking if Grandma brought the good sprinkles. The twins were glued to their tablets. "Bedtime is 8 for the boys, 8:30 for Lily," Sarah explained calmly. "All emergency numbers are on the fridge. Lily's inhaler is in the bathroom cabinet just in case, though she's been fine for months." Mom gave a tight smile. "We raised 2 ourselves. We remember how it works." As we headed for the door, I noticed Dad standing protectively in front of the duffel bag he'd placed in the hall. When I walked past, he shifted his body to block it. "Everything all right, Dad?" "Perfect," he said, but there was sweat on his temples even though the house was cool. Sarah came down the stairs, fixing an earring. She saw the bag and smiled politely. "Oh, you brought overnight things? That's sweet. I'll just move it to the guest room." She reached down to grab it. Dad practically jumped. "No need. Too late." She had already pulled the zipper. Her face drained of color. Then she let out a scream that turned my blood cold. "Get the kids upstairs. Call 911 now." I ran over and looked inside. My stomach dropped. Coils of rope. Several rolls of duct tape. 4 bottles of children's cherry-flavored Benadryl. A bottle of strong prescription sedatives with the label scratched off. A handgun I had never seen before. And worst of all, 3 tiny rolling suitcases. 1 pink with Lily's favorite unicorn sticker already on it. 2 blue ones labeled with the twins' names in my mother's handwriting. "What is this?" My voice cracked. Mom's warm grandma mask vanished, replaced by something icy. "It's not what you think." "Really?" Sarah was already pushing the confused children toward the stairs. "Because it looks exactly like kidnapping gear." Dad stepped between us and the staircase. "Everybody just calm down. Let us explain." "Explain to the police," I said, dialing. Mom grabbed my arm. "Timothy, don't be an idiot. You have no idea what's really going on here." I yanked away and gave the operator our address. "My parents showed up to babysit and they have ropes, sedatives, and a gun. Please hurry." Dad tried to edge toward the stairs again. I blocked him. "You don't understand," he hissed. "We're trying to save them." "Save them from what?" "From you too," Mom snapped. "From this cage you call a life." "From her." She jerked her head toward the upstairs where Sarah was locking the bedroom door. Sirens were already closing in. Mom's composure cracked. "We just wanted proper time with them. Real time. Without you hovering and controlling every second." "So you were going to drug them and disappear?" "The medicine was only if they got upset," Dad said. "The gun was for protection." "Protection from whom?" "From anyone who tried to keep us from our grandchildren." Mom shouted as officers stormed through the front door. Hands in the air. On the ground. I watched, numb, as my own father, the man who taught me to throw a baseball, was forced face down onto our rug and cuffed. An officer photographed the contents of the bag. A field test on the children's Benadryl came back positive for a powerful adult sedative. Enough to knock out a horse, let alone 3 small children. Later, at the station, they finally admitted the plan. A rented house on the coast of Mexico. Cash payment, 6 months in advance. Fake passports already made. New names, new birth dates. Money quietly moved to offshore accounts over the previous year. Searches on their home computer. Countries without extradition. How long before a child forgets their parents? Homeschooling laws in Central America. They insisted it wasn't kidnapping. It was a grandparent vacation. They swore they would have brought the kids back, eventually. There was even a note in the bag, in mom's neat cursive. We're borrowing what's rightfully ours. You've had your turn. Don't bother looking. We'll bring them home when they know who really loves them. The trial was agonizing. Their attorney painted them as heartbroken grandparents driven to desperation by cold, ungrateful children. The evidence buried that story. The premeditation was undeniable. Mom wept on the stand. I just wanted to matter to them. Not be the people you call when Sarah's parents are busy. And you decided drugging and abducting them was the way to achieve that, the prosecutor asked. It wasn't abduction, she whispered. It was rescue. Dad showed no remorse. Those children carry my blood. A man has a right to his legacy. They each received 15 years. Explaining it to the kids was the hardest part. Lily understood more than we wished. Were Grandma and Grandpa going to take us away forever? We don't know what they planned, sweetheart, Sarah said, holding her tight. But you're safe. That's what matters. The twins forgot quickly. Lily needed therapy for nightmares. She still double-checks the lock some nights. My older sister called after the sentencing. We hadn't spoken in years. I'm sorry, Tim. But I'm not shocked. Remember how they used to say we belonged to them? Remember the screaming when you picked Sarah over the girl they wanted for you? This was always in them. I remembered. I just hadn't wanted to see it. It's been 2 years now. The children are happy, surrounded by people who love them without conditions. Sarah's parents moved nearby and fill every grandparent-shaped hole with genuine joy. Letters still come from prison. I throw them away unopened. The first ones were full of blame. You stole our second chance. A real son would understand blood. But I do understand blood. Blood doesn't give you ownership. Blood doesn't justify cages, drugs, or stolen childhoods. That duffel bag and those 3 tiny suitcases sit in an evidence locker somewhere. Reminders of how close we came to losing everything. 20 more minutes, and they would have been gone. New names, new country, new life where mommy and daddy were distant memories. We never got our anniversary dinner that night. We ordered pizza instead and held our babies until sunrise. Now we celebrate differently. No fancy restaurant. Just the 5 of us, together, safe, grateful. My parents become eligible for parole in 5 more years. They'll be old, possibly frail. It doesn't matter. They will never lay eyes on my children again. Because love isn't possession. Love is showing up every birthday, every random Tuesday, every ordinary day, and choosing presence over control. They had 12 years to learn that. They chose resentment instead, then crime. Some families say I went too far by testifying. Some cousins send birthday cards addressed only to the kids, as if Sarah and I have ceased to exist. They talk about forgiveness. I've seen what their version of forgiveness requires. Silence, submission, and 3 sedated children on a plane to nowhere. So no, I didn't go too far. For years I didn't go far enough. Making excuses, minimizing, pretending love could be forced. It took a bag full of ropes and lies to make me finally see clearly. My parents offered to babysit for our anniversary. What they really offered was a lifetime of nightmares dressed up as help. Thank God Sarah reached for that zipper. Thank God we protected our children, even from the people who once swore to protect me. That's what parents do. We keep our children safe. From strangers, from danger, and sometimes, hardest of all, from the grandparents who believe love is something you steal in the night and rename forever.